Welcome back to our lesson on pay and taxes. Today we're going to look at the difference between taxes and FICA contributions. To review a little bit, so far we've talked about gross versus net pay. Gross being the money that you make in your paycheck without any deductions taken out, and net pay being your take-home pay after taxes and after any other deductions are taken out of your paycheck. That is what you have to live off of for the rest of your pay period. We've also talked a little bit about income taxes, taxes that's taken out of the money that you make. We talked about three different types: federal, state, and local income tax. And we've discussed a little bit that the percentages for each of those look a little bit different, but that it's important that we have taxes taken out of our income. It pays for government projects. It also pays for government salaries, as well as projects around your town, keeping your roads clean, and other state and locally funded projects in your area. So whenever you get a paycheck, you're going to see that not only do you have state and federal and local taxes taken out, but you also have Social Security and Medicare contributions that also come out of your paycheck. I don't think all of you plan to work your entire lives. In fact, I'm sure that you know maybe an individual or two, perhaps your grandparents or some other senior citizens that you know around town that are retired. Many retired individuals receive a stipend or a specific amount of money each month. That is because they're no longer working, but they're eligible to receive a stipend of money per month. So what does that look like, and why are you paying for other people who are retired? Well, whenever you work and whenever you get your paycheck, a percentage or a part of your paycheck money is taken out, and it goes toward Social Security and Medicare contributions. Everybody who works and gets a paycheck gets this money taken out. And that money is pooled in a fund to distribute or to give to eligible retirees or survivors of workers who have died, and even people who are disabled. So you contribute money to a Social Security trust fund, and your employer matches what you give. So if you give $1, your employer will give $1. If you're giving $500 each month, then your employer is giving $500 each month. So this is happening for every paycheck during your work life. Then at retirement, we take the highest 35 years of earnings. So if you've been working for longer than 35 years, we take your earning for the highest 35 years, and we give you an average of what you made. So we calculate an average index monthly earnings, and what you receive at retirement is based on your average earning per month for those 35 years. I will say it really does pay to stay in the workforce and kind of work to increase your earnings over time. If you are staying at a minimum wage job and you're only working minimum wage for the next 35 years, well, your retirement benefits aren't going to be as big as if you had started with a low income and worked towards getting more money and getting a higher salary throughout your life. So that's at retirement. After retirement, when you're eligible, and there are a list of qualifications after you are 65 years old to be eligible, you begin receiving benefits at retirement. So a check in the mail from the government that helps you pay for your living expenses. Now, these benefits vary. They're different for each individual. It depends on how much you gave when you worked, and therefore what you get back might be more or less than what somebody else gets back, depending on how much money you contributed during your work life. I've added this information sheet to your notebook. It says your retirement benefit, how it's figured, and it kind of gives the plan for retirement and how individuals receive their retirement benefits. But what's really interesting is how it's calculated. So the second page shows how you can calculate the amount that you would make in retirement benefits. And and it kind of shows just the chart that says your maximum earnings and how they would send you a check each month. So it's kind of interesting. If you're interested, you can pause this video and read and try and calculate for yourself what Social Security benefits you could possibly receive at the age of 65 when you retire. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about retirement. My next question is, how do we actually pay our income taxes? I've already shared with you that it's a portion of your income. Whatever you make, a percentage of that comes out and goes to the federal, state, and local governments around you. But those percentages vary. If you've ever looked up what percentage of your income is given to taxes, it's going to vary. And what's neat is that you as a worker get to choose the method for paying your taxes. You could pay a little bit at a time out of each paycheck, that's called withholding, or you could pay it all at once. You could calculate exactly what's owed paying your taxes. I would say the majority of Americans usually have taxes withheld from each paycheck. That way it helps workers set aside the funds at regular intervals for their tax liabilities, how much they owe. Just like creating a spending plan that you set aside for funds and savings goals, budgeting. Paying your taxes a little bit at a time and having that withheld really does help make sure that you're not scrounging around for money at tax season. So April 15th is when everybody's taxes are due. And if you haven't set aside money during the year, you haven't withheld money from your paycheck for your taxes, you could owe a lot of money to the federal government. You might have to owe $10,000 in taxes. And if you don't have that money at the time when it's due, that's going to be very difficult for you. Whereas somebody who's had those taxes withheld, let's say they've had, $1,000 withheld from every single paycheck, well, the federal government's not going to need any more money from them. And in fact, they could actually get money back. So taxes, withholding, everything for retirement and Medicare and Medicaid, that can be a little confusing. So we're going to put that aside for a few minutes, and we're going to talk about some other financial decisions you might need to make when you're starting a job. If you've ever had a job before, you know that there's a lot of paperwork that you have to fill out even before you start. And a lot of that documentation is often required for new hires. It includes proof of citizenship to make sure that you're a citizen of the country that you're working for, emergency contact information in case you get hurt, payroll preferences, so that's like deductions or automatic deposits, insurance applications or waivers. You might have to sign that you've read their employee handbook, and in some states you even have to have a youth work permit. There are a lot of different decisions you're going to have to make when you start a new job. You have to make decisions about your pay. Will what you earn fit into your spending plan? Are you making enough? Or are you going to have to edit your budget or perhaps work more hours in order to be able to live off of what you make? Decisions regarding your paycheck. So a wonderful option for a lot of employers is what's called automatic deposit. And instead of you getting a check that you have to bring to the bank to cash or to put into your savings or checking account, they can automatically deposit that money into a bank account for you. It could be a savings account, it could be a checking account. But there are many different options that employers offer. You can choose to either get it automatically deposited, or you can choose to receive that check in person. I personally use direct deposit, automatic deposit. That way, when I go to the store, I know that there is a specific amount of money already in my bank account. I don't have to worry about adding that money to my bank account each month. So it's just one less step for me. Other decisions when you start a new job are employee benefits. A lot of different employers have different insurance plans. Plans for just one person in your family, yourself, or you and a spouse, or even you and your entire family. And you have to decide what situation is best. Maybe your spouse has a different insurance option that you guys need to kind of compare which has the better option, which employee has the better option. You have to decide how much you're going to contribute to a retirement or insurance savings program. These are really great benefits to have, but you personally have to decide, what are you going to give towards your retirement? And remember, that's money that's coming back to you later in your life. Do you only want to give $100 a month, or do you feel like you are okay to give more in your retirement? Do you have the automatic payroll deduction for any of your regular expenses? So if you work at a food store and you have to buy lunch through them, sometimes they will just take that money right out of your paycheck instead of you having to give them money right then and there to pay for your food. These are choices that you're going to have to make. You also have to talk about withholding allowance, how much tax income is going to be withheld from each paycheck. And this isn't something that you have to decide by yourself. Often your employer will help you with making these choices, and usually they'll help you make a choice that gives you the best option for just paying what you need to for taxes. That way you won't have to pay extra when the time comes, and you won't have a lot that you'll get back. But this page is probably one of the scariest to fill out when you are starting a new job. It's your W-4 withholding certificate. This tells your company, your employer, how much money they should hold from your paycheck to go towards federal taxes and state taxes as well. Deciding what you claim for allowances, this is a financial decision you make every time you fill out the form. What you record in the box 3, in box 5, in box 6, in box 7, it impacts the amount of federal income tax that's deducted from your gross pay. We're going to end this video just by having you pause and read page 22. Page 22 gives you a little bit more of a clearer view about withholding your taxes. After you're done that, I want you to try and complete activity 3.7. Get the W-4 right. So right now, pause this video, read page 22 in your student guide, and then when you're finished with that, you can complete activity 3.7, get the W-4 right, and we will look at reviewing that next time.